this point, we're going to publish Chick-fil-A work inside too. Going through the Home Depot parking lot, are there things that you have to go over that have bumps?
Yeah, there's speed bumps as you're going up the hill into the parking lot.
Detective, right there where the pointer is that the car you're talking about in that parking spot that
That's
you're
correct.
noting? Okay. As you get to that spot, it has been 4 minutes and 33 seconds, correct?
Correct.
Okay. inside 3. Same spot where you're getting right to that spot where the definitive part, June 18th.
That's
Okay, and that's 436. Chick-fil-A work inside for. Detective, was that actually a car coming from the right, cutting across in front, turning left?
That's correct.
So you have to pay attention to traffic coming from that side as well.
Yes, sir. Spot, you've actually passed the parking spot, That's correct.
and that is 243.
Yes, sir.
Now, was that the first time out of those four that you actually you didn't catch the light?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and detective, we'll look in a little bit at the, you also did a route going from Treehouse to Acres Mill, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'll look at that in just a minute. Before we get to that, the defendant gave you, told you he went to where at lunch, for lunch?
Publix.
Okay. I'm gonna show you, I'm not gonna ask you to step down, the jury's seen it a few times. State's Exhibit 230, can you see that?
I can.
Okay, and so if you're leaving Treehouse, he got picked up at Treehouse and comes back to Publix,
Correct.
what does he have to pass twice?
The Chick-fil-A.
There and on the way back. The
The
Chick-fil-A where he had breakfast with his son?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, we talked about the route he took, or the route he would have taken from Treehouse to Acres Mill, where his car came to a stop and where his child was pulled out of the car, the defendant's child. When did you make these videos? Do you remember what day of the week it would have been?
Would have been on Wednesday.
Okay. And just generally, what time were you driving it?
Early.
So with that area, when you drove that area from Treehouse to Acres Mill, would it have been different than later in the day? Not saying how it would have been different, but would it have been different than, say, 4, 4:15, 4:30?
Speculation.
I'll ask it. Are you familiar with traffic patterns in that area?
I am.
Okay, would it have been bless you, with the traffic, it had been different back in the afternoon than it was when you did it this morning.
Still calls for speculation.
I think I've laid the foundation. You notice the traffic patterns.
I'm allowed.
You can go
That's
ahead.
correct.
I'm going to go ahead and publish that video now. Work to subway inside. detective, the stop time on that is 4:40.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, turn your attention now, talk a little bit about the routine as far as taking Cooper to daycare and things like that. Now, in this case, did you guys actually receive records from Little Apron Academy and things like that as far as badge access into and out of Little Apron and some tracking sheets to kind of go by and corroborate or match up what had happened and who dropped off when?
We did.
Okay, in the defendant's statement, I believe he started off by saying he usually did, but then said it, backed off that immediately and said, well, it's kind of a toss-up.
Correct.
Okay. Did you look at the badge access records that were provided from May 5th to June 17th of 2014?
I have.
Okay, and in the 24 days that we have records of being able to determine who dropped Cooper off, the mother or the father, how many times did the defendant drop Cooper off in the morning between those days?
So between May 1st and the June 17th, Dad dropped off 19 times.
Okay. And how many times, excuse me, did the mother drop off?
Dad dropped off 5 times.
So the father dropped off almost 80% of the time.
Correct.
Now, in June specifically, do you remember what the breakdown was?
Yeah, Dad dropped off. He went to school 9 times in June. Cooper did. The defendant dropped him off 6 times. Leanna dropped off 3 times.
Now, did you obtain, were you able to actually obtain video as well of Cooper being brought into Little Apron for the month of June on those different days?
I did.
Okay, and you're able to see who brought him in and what dates and kind of how Cooper was on those days?
That's correct.
Okay, how many occasions in the videos did you see Leanna Harris bringing Cooper in?
Leanna brought him in a total of 3 times.
Okay, and were those times earlier than when defendant brings him in?
Yes.
Okay, and was Cooper awake on all of those occasions?
Yes.
Now, when the defendant brings him in on those 6 times, how many times is he asleep and how many times is he awake?
He's asleep 4 times and awake twice.
Now, on the dates where he is asleep, are those times where he brings him in between 8:30, 8:45-ish?
That is correct.
And the 2 occasions that he comes in awake, were any of those times later than usual, say around 9 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, and what day was that, if you remember?
It was one of the last times, but I don't have it in front of me.
Have you seen the videos and would it refresh your memory to watch the video to see what day it was that he actually brought Cooper in closer to 9 o'clock and Cooper was awake?
That's correct.
Okay. Just give me a second, Your Honor. I'm going to publish what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit 312, flash drive number 3, supplied by Greg Sanders. Turn your attention to June 17, 2014, the day before Cooper's death. I'll have to go up closer, see with glasses, I can't see that. Okay. Open up video 6/17/04, Jay Harris and son entering Little Apron Academy. Okay. Detective Stoddard, having reviewed that, what day was it, close to 9 o'clock, later than usual, that he actually brought Cooper in?
Yeah, it's going to be June 17th, 2014.
And did you also, in the course of your investigation, we talked a lot about, you interviewed other witnesses and things like that. Did you speak with witnesses who talked about how Cooper would behave after he came from Chick-fil-A and had breakfast and had stopped there?
We did.
And specifically, the defendant in his interview, how did he describe Cooper, how he was behaving that morning, on the 18th?
On the 18th, he stated that Cooper had slept in that morning.
Okay. And so he'd woken up early and then actually slept in later than usual?
That is correct.
And so after that, did he say how he was acting at Chick-fil-A?
He was wide awake at Chick-fil-A.
And did he discuss Cooper actually talking to him as he was getting him into the car?
As he puts him in the car and he goes through the details of them giving a kiss, he stated that Cooper said school.
And was that in the conversation where the defendant's talking to Leanna? He says that Cooper said school back to him before.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to turn your attention now to picking up Cooper. Generally, did you go back and look at the records regarding the defendant's statement about there was a toss-up about who would pick Cooper up in the afternoon?
That's correct.
Okay, and generally in the same records from May 5th to June 17th when Cooper was actually in school, what are the number of times that the mother picked Cooper up?
Leanna picked him up 15 times.
Okay, and the defendant, picked him up how many times?
Defendant picked him up 10 times.
Okay. And there's one number off from the time he picks up and drops off. Was there a time where you weren't able to tell one day who dropped off and on that day, but could tell who picked up?
That's correct. There's one day where he does come into the school. There's no badge in or badge out report, so we can't verify exactly who dropped him off that day in May.
And was that a week where the defendant every other time that week, morning and afternoon, was drop off and pick up?
Correct.
But for sake of counting, we did not count that as a drop off for the defendant.
That's correct.
Regarding the defendant stopping at Chick-fil-A, did he tell you in his interview how many times that happened?
They said like
Approximately.
2 to 3 times.
And was this the first time he had done so in June?
We believe so.
Did the defendant describe to you about whether this was something important to him or a big deal to him that sticks out in his mind taking his son to Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, it would be his daddy-son breakfast.
Now, we talked a little about as far as the timeline and things like that. Were you able to get an exact, first of all, do you know exactly where the defendant had parked in Chick-fil-A on June 18th?
No, there's no video of the Chick-fil-A parking lot that we were able to obtain.
Okay. So you have no idea where he parked or any video of him walking out and putting Cooper in the car seat?
Correct.
Okay. Did you, in any of the videos that you were able to look at, did you find any videos of the defendant taking Cooper to a car and putting him in the car seat as an approximation of how long it would take him to actually get Cooper out to the car and put him into a car seat?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm going to turn your attention to, I think the same exhibit I have in the flash drive. Would that be June 2nd?
June 2nd is correct.
Going to publish 62214 J. Harris and Son depart LAA parking. Got my cursor up here. Is it appearing out of the right? Is that who you recognize the defendant and Cooper leaving at that point, walking out to the car?
Yep, up on the left.
Okay. And is that a short walk to where, is that his car where the cursor is right now?
That's correct.
So 456, 56, can start back. 4:58, excuse me, at 4:58:13, he closes the door. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it took him just about a minute and 17 seconds to walk that short distance, get him strapped in and close the door.
Correct.
Now, looking at the car seat he would have been in, so let's talk a little bit about the car seat and changing the car seat. In this day, do we know for sure which car seat he was in?
Yes.
Okay, and which car seat would it have been based upon when he went back to the rear facing?
On that date, he's going to be in,
On June 2nd.
on June 2nd, he's going to be in the rear-facing car seat.
Okay, which day was it that he actually switched back to the rear facing?
Okay, June 4th is
Okay.
about when we believe, and this is just for text messages, we believe he went back to the rear-facing. So I was wrong. This is going to be more likely a forward-facing car seat.
Now, do you know exactly which day it is that they actually switched?
We're not sure, and it could be the rear-facing, but due to the text messages and with him swapping out car seats and that, we believe that so this will be a forward-facing. The 4th is around when Leanna goes to Alabama, so that's going to be around the time where he got the rear-facing car seat back in.
Well, let's talk about the rear-facing car seat a little bit then. What type of car seat was this?
It was a Kiko 30.
And in looking at the car seat, have you read the regulations about it and things like that?
I have,
Okay. Was he the appropriate weight for this car seat?
yes.
Objection, foundation.
Judge, he's reviewed the car seat and actually seen the instructions on it, pulled them up and reviewed them.
I'll object to hearsay.
What is that?
It's his personal knowledge from actually reviewing the actual car seat instructions. It's not that I'm not trying to enter what is something that, whether it was truthful that the manufacturer said that. What I'm saying is the effect on the hearer, whether the defendant would have been aware what their recommendation was if he read the instructions like he said he did to Detective Stoddard.
Okay, I'm allowed an objection.
What was the height requirement or maximum height for a child in that car seat?
Maximum height is 30 inches,
Okay. And at Cooper's death, how tall was he?
33 inches.
So he was 3 inches too big for that.
Correct.
Leading,
Probably.
Okay. Probably. Thank you. All right. So, Detective, regarding the rear-facing car seat, I know we talked a little bit about the defendant told you it had been about 6 weeks earlier, and you talked about how you may have been able to develop when the car seats would have been switched.
Correct.
Okay. Now, looking back, and we'll talk more about this in a little while, when you got the, well, first of all, were you able to recover text messages between the defendant and Leanna, at least going up to a certain day in May, from one of her computers?
Yes,
And that was, were they, I guess, a backup?
we believe so.
Okay. And were you able to get all the text messages up to June 18th or just to some date in May from that standpoint?
Just some date in May.
Okay. Later, were you able to obtain all the text messages, or as many as you can get from the defendant's phone from the time he started using it, at least some point up until the date of June 18th?
Correct.
Okay, going back to the car seat, did you have information in the case that they had researched it and they were looking for forward-facing car seats and things like that?
Yes.
Okay. Turn your attention to May 12th of 2014. Was there a text conversation with the defendant discussed having to actually put in the car seat for the first time?
Correct. Leanna sends him a text saying something to the effect of,
well, I guess I'll object to hearsay at this point. Is all this already in, Judge?
Yes, it is through the phone. But this is not hearsay, Judge. This is statements of the defendant offered by a party opponent. Anything by the other party is, its effect on here subject to Brandon versus the state. So to put it in context and for the defendant's admissions, it's admissible under Brandon versus the state.
I thought he was testifying as to what Leanna said.
He was. And the defendant, back and forth between the two of them.
Okay, so same objection then.
That's same response, Judge.
I'm allowed it.
So Detective, with the discussion back and forth, what happened that morning and how did the defendant respond about installing a car seat?
apparently through the text messages, Leanna forgot the car seat, the rear-facing car seat in her car, and had left that morning with it in the car. She makes a statement like it'd be an hour to come back, and suggest to the defendant that he put the new car seat in his car. And that's, like I said, 5/12/2014.
And we'll get to the actual text messages later, but did he actually, via the text messages, did it corroborate, did he actually install it that day?
Yeah, it's apparent that he did install it that night.
Was he happy about having to do that?
Objection,
From his messaging, did he appear upset having to do it that day?
objection, that calls for speculation.
I'm going from the defendant's statements via text, Judge.
Well, I know, but it's still,
Okay.
the inference he draws from that.
Your Honor, I'll withdraw it for now and get to it when we actually tender the text.
That's good.
So, May 12th, 2014, that's about 5.5 weeks before June 18th. Then.
Correct.
And we talked about June 4th, another conversation. How are you able to ascertain that that was a day that then, it was a definite point at which Leanna would have had the forward-facing car seat back in her car, the defendant the rear-facing?
Between the interview that I conducted with the defendant and with text messages, that's the day Leanna left for Alabama.
Okay, turn your attention also, we've seen lots of videos from Treehouse and Little Apron and things like that, where you provided video of the Home Depot parking lot going back for the entire month of June, starting June 2nd all the way up through June 18th.
I was.
Okay, and have you reviewed that just generally to see on specific days where the defendant would park within the parking lot?
I have.
Okay. Your Honor, shown defense counsel what are marked for identification purposes at State's Exhibit. State's Exhibit 438. Detective, I'm just going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit 438. Do you recognize that?
I do.
How do you recognize that?
Recognized it as what I sat and reviewed to where the defendant parked certain days of the week.
And is this actually, is this a fair and accurate representation of the parking lot? And have you reviewed those stickies and times to determine, basically, to be able to state what the video reflects about where he parked on those different occasions?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I tender State's Exhibit 438 at this time.
Yeah, for demonstrative purposes, we don't object, Joe.
All right.
All right, Detective Stoddard, because these stickies are so small too, I'm gonna ask you to get up again, if you don't mind. Well, if you do mind, it's tough, you still gotta step down, so.
Thank you.
All right, State's Exhibit 438. Publishing at this time. Okay. Now, just to kind of show the jury what we're looking at here, so they've got the area. What is depicted here?
Okay, this is going to be the treehouse, 2600 Cumberland Parkway.
Okay. Now, is this the entry right here coming from Cumberland, where the defendant or anyone, most people, if they're coming this way, would enter into to park at the treehouse?
Correct.
Okay. Now, is the parking lot over here and then over here as well, going up into this side?
Correct.
Okay. Where is the only way you can really enter to go to the treehouse in this building? Are you aware if that's an emergency exit or if this is?
I believe this is an emergency exit, and this is just the one main entrance right here.
Okay, so that's down here at the bottom corner of the Home Depot treehouse, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now looking at this, let's start by going just through some of the parking areas, okay? Looking at this June 3rd at 9:13:10, what is reflected there?
He parked here front by the entrance.
Okay, and has it been color coded as to what day of the week this is?
It has.
So that would be a Tuesday?
Correct.
Okay. Now looking at June 4th, 8:50:52, what is denoted here?
That would be where he would park in the second row.
Okay, so that is the second row, okay? And June the 11th at 1:01:54, upon returning from lunch on a different Wednesday, where did he park?
Over here.
Now, just to show everybody, to show the jury, to get them kind of, I guess, honed in on where the parking spot the defendant parked at that on the day of 6/18, is that this parking spot right here?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm gonna move that sticky a little bit so you can actually see the parking spot. Is that the parking spot where he parked on the day of the incident?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, at that parking spot, was there any availability for someone to park behind him?
No,
How about in front of him?
no,
On the day he parked, was there already a car parked to his left as he pulled forward?
that's correct.
And was there any way for anybody to park to his right, or is
No.
there something else there?
There's a little grassy straw median right there.
Okay. Is there a tree there and a tree there?
Correct.
Okay. So nobody could have parked anywhere around him at that point or pulled up after he pulled in?
No.
Okay. Looking at 6/6 at 9/12/27, that is a Friday. Am I pointing to where he parked that day?
That's correct.
And would that been back by the wood line?
That's correct.
Now, all these other times and dates and things of this nature where he parked in the month of June, are these actual parking spots where he parked?
No,
Or
I'm
is this the general area?
No, we're going to refer to these as right rear. You can't really see it due to the trees and everything here. So he parked somewhere over here off camera. You can see motion, but you can't really, I can't tell exactly where he parked.
So basically on those days, he comes over here and parks somewhere in this general area?
That's correct.
Okay. And is that a straight line walk down from here to the treehouse entrance?
It is.
Okay. Thank you. You can have your seat. Now, Detective, in the course of your investigation, were you provided a number of different CDs and flash drives and things like that from the Home Depot that showed a video of the parking lot on the day in question?
I did.
Okay, were some of those duplicative and things of that nature, as far as getting the same video on in different versions and things like that?
They were.
Okay, and were there other videos that may not have been on one that were on other things provided?
That's correct.
Okay, now I'm going to start by starting with the morning of June 18th, and I want to publish to you a video and describe what time it is that we first see the defendant come into the parking lot. And Your Honor, this time I think, as we did with the parking video before, we're going to need to move the screen up this way. And so, I think, does the defense, you have the screen working?
You're gonna play off of.
You play off with the monitor pad. All right, Detective, I'm going to publish what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit 376, which has video from disc 23. And let me know when we're watching this if you can actually see it or if you need to step down, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to open what is 6/18/14 J. Harris 2600 vehicle entry. Okay, so we see right here, 9:24:42 a.m. Is that the first time the defendant's car is seen coming into this camera angle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that the road as it's coming off of Cumberland Boulevard to go around the corner to the parking lot?
Yeah, off Cumberland Parkway.
Okay, and he was off screen at 9:24:29. I'm gonna go to the next camera angle that shows, depicts the defendant's car. I want to State's Exhibit, it's already been amended, 317. Go into full day and to, excuse me, front left video. Let's skip ahead. Okay, at 9:25:13 a.m., you see in this camera angle the defendant's car enter for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Play again. Okay, detective stopped it at 9:25:38. Is that point in time where after he's pulled forward, backed up right there, and then pulled in, is that when his car has come to a stop at 9:25:38?
That's correct.
Now, does he immediately get out of his car, or is there some time period before he actually closes the door?
There's some time period.
Okay, actually, I think it was a second earlier, I stopped it at 9:26:17, but a second earlier, about 9:26:16, was that when the defendant actually shut the door?
Yes.
Okay, had his car door opened earlier, about 17 seconds after he
Judge,
stopped?
I'm gonna object to the form of the question.
I'll rephrase it.
He's really been leading here, and I'm gonna start objecting to it.
About how long was it from the time he stopped the car to the door opened?
30, to open,
Yeah, approximately, if you remember.
less than 30 seconds.
Okay. And how long was it when he actually got out of the car? Would it have been more or less than 30 seconds?
More. Or no, around 30 seconds.
Okay. And the time he closed the door would have been more or less than 30 seconds?
More.
I'm going to start again. And now is he off screen?
Correct.
Actually, now going to publish the other video, a different angle from the middle. defendant arriving at work, going to start playing at 9:24:26. Okay, 9:25:17. What do we see enter the picture here on the top left?
The vehicle.
And is this going to show a different angle of the defendant parking?
It is.
Okay, stopping it at 9:25:38. What is the state of the vehicle there at 9:25:38?
Marked.
Is that on, is the same as the video before, same
Correct.
time? I'm gonna start again. Okay, stopped it there. Car door starting to open. What time is that? If you can see.
9:25:56.
Okay. And again, at 9:26:16 in this video, what has he just done?
Close the door.
I'm gonna play. And just so the record's clear, in what direction is the defendant walking per the parking lot, or the parking lot map of the treehouse?
And towards the entrance of the treehouse.
Okay. And what time is that where he actually walks out of camera view?
9:26:50.
Right, now I'm gonna go to a different camera angle. Did a different camera angle pick up him walking further toward the building?
It does.
Right here, can you see that figure? Maybe hit play and we'll see. Starting at 9:26:48.
Yes.
And who is that?
That's going to be the defendant, or appears to be the defendant.
What is that he has in his left hand that you see him coming in later through badging in?
Chick-fil-A cup.
And did he tell you about anything he would have to get from his right before he got out and got out of the vehicle that morning?
It'd be his computer bag.
Okay. And do you see that reflected on this video, that he
Yeah, it
actually
appears
got
to
his
be.
video back, or his computer back?
Yeah, there appears to be a computer bag slung over his shoulder.
9/27/03, is he any longer in the video?
No, he's off camera.
Finally, we were able to get badge access video as well, about what time to confirm what time he came in that
Yes, we
morning.
did.
Gonna publish with badge and per day video on this.
Hey, Chuck, give me that exhibit number, please.
It's still 3/17. And who is that depicted in that video?
It appears to be the defendant.
Okay, he's badged in as green light. What time is that?
Time's gonna be 9/27/44.
Now, were you provided, in addition to badge access records for Little Apron, were you provided badge access records for the tree house as well?
I was.
Okay, and did you go back and look at the videos and compare them to the badge access records, which were, I guess, operating on different servers?
I did.
Okay, and was this time right on point?
They were.
Did you confirm the other times when he badged out for lunch, back in from lunch, and out for the day?
Correct.
The videos to the badge access
We're
record?
all within a second or two.
Now, did these videos also depict the defendant departing work for the day?
They do.
Now I'm going to move to, on the same video, badge out, or the same exhibit 317, badge out for the day. Okay. What time is it that he is badged out there?
It'd be 4:14:44 p.m.
Now I'm going to go back to the front full day video, middle, front parking video. Move to later in the day. Did you find on this video, a video of the defendant walking out to his car
We
from
did.
this camera angle? And in this video, do you see the defendant walking out to his car?
I do.
Okay. Now, at 4:16:04 p.m., what did he just do at that time?
You close the door.
Okay. 4:16:07 p.m., what is the car done?
The vehicle's moving.
Now going back to State's Exhibit 376. I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 376, J. Harris exit vehicle. Okay. 4:16:27, what appears on the right?
It appears to be the defendant's vehicle.
looking at that vehicle and you're reviewing the videos up here, his windows are up or down at that point?
They appear to be up.
And he's out of the screen. What time is that?
It's going to be at 4:16:31 p.m.
Now, during this investigation, were you given information and did you find out that the defendant had actually returned to his car at some point during the day?
We did.
Okay, and at what time did that happen?
He returns to the car at 12:41:42 p.m. that same day, 6/18.
Now, when you interviewed the defendant, in that interview, did you ask him about his day and did he start going through a timeline?
He did.
And what did he tell you about was he able to give you lots of details about all his goings on during the day?
Lots of details.
When you got to the lunch portion, did he tell you about where he went to lunch and things like that?
He did.
Okay. And where did he tell you he went to lunch?
He said he went to Publix.
Okay. And when you got to the point after Publix, did you notice anything that he did when he started describing what had happened next?
There was a big pause. So he's sitting there explaining to me where he was going, went to Publix, and then there's a big pause.
And when he starts, does he start doing or saying things like that?
Yes.
Leading,
Okay. All right. What does he start saying?
He starts saying, we're trying to draw it out a little bit longer.
Can you see that in the video that we
Yes.
just saw the other day? Okay.
Thank you.
I just said So after you asked him that, and there's this pause, he does that. Did he ever say anything about going to Home Depot for light bulbs?
No,
Did he just say he went back to work?
that's correct.
Okay. Additionally, going to Home Depot, not saying that, did he ever tell you where he was dropped off?
No,
Did he ever say anything about going back to his car?
no,
Did he ever say anything about going into his car?
no,
And these were all things that he specifically did. His car, his trips, the same car that he left the child in.
that is correct.
So when you located this video, did you actually review it as well?
That's correct.
Was this also provided by Home Depot in the same manner as they provided the other videos?
It is.
We go to store and the exhibit 317, going to front left video. And what time did you say that the car enters the screen?
Well, he returns to his parked car at 12:41:42.
And starting at 12:41:29. Okay, do we see a car start to enter the scene here at 12:41:37?
Yes, we do.
And that car coming to a stop, what time is that?
Car comes to a stop at 12:41:42 p.m.
Now, does he immediately get right out of the car? Or
He
just
does
some
not.
time? Okay. Okay. Now, the time he gets out of the car, what time is that? If you can see it
It's
on the
going to
screen.
be at 12:42:03.
I'm going to play. Okay. Now, what time is that where he has opened the door?
12:42:14.
He opened it a little bit earlier than that.
Yes.
And how many, have you watched this video more than a few times?
Yes.
Okay. How do you describe what he has done at that point?
As he comes walking up to the door, He opens up the car door, he steps into the frame of the door. He is in the frame, he is in there. He has a clear view, and by a clear view, I mean there's nothing between the defendant and a view of the interior of that car. He is
Now, I was gonna say, can you, looking at this video, is there any way you can say exactly what he's looking at or anything like
No,
that?
never once we're going to say where his eyes were. But I will say there is nothing between him and a view of the inside of that car.
Now, when you see it from the other side too, does he stay straight up or does he do anything else?
No, when he comes up to the car, it appears he bends down a little bit.
And as far as you can see from this video, does he ever go his head inside the car or anything like that?
No, not once we said that he ever put his head into the inside of that car.
Now, did anything else go inside the car? Basically, what you found at the scene and what you can see basically through this, if you know what you're looking for, and it's been slowed down.
It appears he has a plastic bag through receipts and through other video. We found out it was light bulbs in that bag, and he throws it into the car seat next to him. Or from the video, it appears that he throws it into the car.
From this video, 12:42:29, is he out of view?
That's correct.
Now, did you also, is this depicted in the other video, the front middle video?
It is.
Just starting at 12:41, now it's 20. Now stopping at 12:41:35, you see a car entering on the right in this video as well.
I do.
And is that going to be the same car that we saw in the other video, just coming from a different angle?
Apparently so.
Okay, 12:42:08, does it appear he's out of the car?
It does.
Okay, and from looking at the other video as well, did it appear you could tell what seat he was in, front or back on this occasion?
Apparently he's in the front passenger seat.
Okay, stopped at 12:42:12, door opening at that point?
I believe so. I'm going to have to step.
Can you step down, help you? I know it's a bad angle for you. Okay, and what we're about to see, is that what you had just described to the jury about watching this video and how he went to the car?
That's correct.
Now, Detective, this is from a different angle. Do we see somebody approaching from the right?
We do.
Okay. As that person passes him, what, if anything, does the defendant do?
The defendant pauses.
Now, can you tell with any certainty if at all he turns back or not
I can't.
to look at him?
The video is what it is. You can't really tell. All we know is he stops or he pauses.
Does it appear a point that it is possible that he has at least?
Objection, reading.
Okay. I'll ask, based upon your review on this and enhancements and things like that, is it possible that he was looking back?
Objection, that's already been answered, Judge.
I don't think I asked that specific question.
He specifically said he couldn't tell. In fact, what he said was, the video is what it is.
And I think,
No objection.
thank you. You can go ahead.
After looking at many, many pictures of this, up close, it is possible that the defendant is turning his head as that person walks by him.
Now here at 12:42:40 p.m., does he bring anything up to his face? Or does he bring his hands up to his face?
Brings his hand up to his face.
Do you know what's in his hands at that
I
point?
do not.
Can you tell if he would have been looking back at that point for sure or not?
No.
And does he stop again there?
He does.
Okay. And now since I've paused that so many times, let me go back and just let it play in real time, okay? Yeah, you can have your seat now. Is he out of the screen at 12:42, 12:43, is he walking out of the screen?
That's correct.
Now, Detective, have you reviewed a number of videos of him walking around the parking lot and walking into work and things like that?
I have,
Does he ever appear to have any problem looking at his phone while he's walking?
none.
Did you ever see him stop and look at his phone in the middle of the parking lot?
Now, the videos I reviewed, I did not see him stop while walking into the Home Depot.
Detective, in addition, regarding the timing, have you looked at any other videos addressing the timing of how long he was in the car, how long it took him to leave, and basically a zoomed-in video of the video of the car as he gets back to him at lunch?
I have.
Okay, and have you reviewed it as far as you having looked at that video several times and looked at it close up? Is that a fair and accurate representation? Would it help assist the jury as well in viewing the video in a closer up angle?
I would say yes.
I'm going to show you what I marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibits 439. Detective showing you State's Exhibit 439. You recognize that?
I do.
And how do you recognize that?
The video that I viewed, it's called Enhanced Video. It's multiple videos of the scene that we just observed.
Okay. And is it the same as this scene except zoomed in closer on the actual activities, and then some of them actually have a timer on it so you can track how long certain things are going on?
Yes.
Your Honor, tender State's Exhibit 439.
Let me just ask a few questions if I could. Who, 439, that's a disc of clips cut out of the surveillance video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who cut those clips out and made that disc?
I was informed David Tyler did that.
You didn't have anything to do with it?
No, sir.
You didn't see it happen?
No, sir.
at it after somebody else did.
Correct.
No foundation.
Judge, he didn't take the videos at Home Depot either. He just said that this is a fair and accurate representation of the videos he saw. It's just closer up. So I think he laid the foundation properly for being able to testify about it.
Of course, the difference is, Judge, this one's been manipulated. This isn't a surveillance video, this is something that's been manipulated.
I'm allowed to objection.
Thank you.
Is this a good time to break? Or no?
Yes, Judge, we can publish it afterward.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
How long is it?
There are 3 videos. They're both a couple minutes at most.
A couple minutes can be 2, a couple.
No,
minutes
it would be like legit 2, not like a couple minutes and.
Legit 2.
That's a legal term.
We'll go with legit 2, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
All right, then we'll let you. Go proper decorum.
Okay, publishing 9:25 a.m. Publishing 12:41 p.m.
take a break from lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, closing up paths, living in the jury room, keeping it in mind. Don't discuss the matter with each other. Just take time to enjoy yourselves and have a very good lunch.
All right, for the jury, please. Please watch your stuff going down.
I've got this new motion 29. When does it need to be heard?
That would be prior to the state attempting to,
Well, I know that, but like, when do you anticipate?
that's up to the state.
That's why I was asking.
Judge, I've just read the motion, the only thing that it adds to it is a discovery issue, so I don't think that you'll need to take any evidence on it, I think we can just argue about it.
I think so.
So let me read over it and do a little bit of research on it, prepared to do it as early as this afternoon, but maybe tomorrow.
Well, Judge, perhaps the motion was not clear. We've been handed an entirely new piece of evidence that we have never had.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we're gonna need to take evidence on it.
Well, that's fine. I just am wondering about timing rather than substance. So when are you anticipating that we will get to that?
Probably Thursday.
And we have all the time in the world.
Thank you, Judge.